Yard, Corcoran's maximum security population.
It looks like right now we had attempted homicide between two inmates. So we've got a crime scene established, we've got the investigative services unit, the security squad out there, and they're collecting evidence.
Because of the severity of the incident, our cameras are not allowed past the perimeter fence.
We did locate a weapon, and the victim had some pretty serious injuries. So at this point, we don't want anybody that's not supposed to be on the yard because of the crime scene. So there'll be an investigation, and we just want to make sure that we do everything right. We definitely identified the suspect. It's going to take some interrogation, some interviewing to find out exactly what happened and why it happened. So at this point, I don't really want to comment on, the suspect or the motive.
As the investigation continues, one suspect turns into three. The suspects are individually escorted to separate holding cells for further questioning and examination.
We're stripping out this suspect that was involved out here on a fight on 3A facility.
Hey, 3, can you grab me some swabs? And if we have any distilled water? No issues, John? No, sir. We like to swab, do uncontrolled and controlled swabs, any type of body fluids, blood, semen, whatever may be on a suspect. Obviously, this individual doesn't have any type of injury, so I'd say 100% chance it's from our victim. So that's why we swab. Going back to our office, we're going to process all the evidence that we collected, process the photographs. Some items were discovered during the search of the victim while he was getting medical aid. We're going to see what is inside the bindles and just start processing all our evidence and start writing reports. So that's where the real work happens.
This is prison 101 stuff. This is just prison politics. So we'll get this thing cleaned up and we'll move on.
All three suspects have been charged with attempted murder. When inmates commit acts of violence against other inmates or staff, they are sent to the Security Housing Unit, or SHU, in what is essentially a prison within a prison. The kite found on B Yard brought the officers no closer to the location of weapons. In order to prevent another stabbing, ISU and the Institutional Gang Investigators, or IGI, plan an early morning raid. This time, hitting the inmates where they sleep.
We're looking for weapons, dope, tobacco. We're gonna be real careful with these guys. Last time we did this in June, on that same facility, the Northerners will make sure that they flush or try to get to the toilets as soon as they can. With these Southerners, we found a lot of weapons, weapon stock, metal stock in recent months, quite a bit of it. A lot of metal that's coming out of the dining hall that they're fashioning into some pretty righteous bone crushers. So be careful, use caution. We do suspect these Southsiders of having weapons in their cell. Grab a mask, grab a blue mask. You guys got that? No, someone going off.
With weapons hidden somewhere on B Yard, time is of the essence. This raid could be the officers' last chance to find the location of the weapons before they are used. The element of surprise is key, as it will hopefully give them an extra step on any inmate hurrying to flush contraband.
Dude on the bottom, put your hands out!
Get down on your stomach, get on your stomach.
Get on the ground,
get on your stomach.
Now! Sally on top, put your...
Well, if you run a flashlight through the back of the bottle, you'll see if there's any kind of weapons or any kind of contraband, which would be you'll see the outlining of a weapon or the silhouette of a weapon.
Go ahead, let him. Be advised, one more cell. I want to come down here. A lot of flushing going on at 107.
10-4 in a row.
The sound of flushing toilets leads officers to a stash of inmate-made wine, or Pruno.
inmate pruno. They grab apples and they let it ferment for a couple of days, smash them up and put them in the bag and just try to put some heat over it, a bunch of covers. They use a lot of blankets. It was under a lot of blankets in the corner. They just let it days until it becomes sort of like wine.
Usually, typically what'll happen is if it's found in the cell in a common area where both inmates have access to it, which is obviously anywhere in the cell, they will be both charged for the possession of inmate manufactured alcohol.
No weapons are found, but the search does turn up an important clue.
Bernice, you guys found some kites up here?
Yeah, we found one.
Okay, what do you have in there?
We haven't opened it up yet. Wrapped in cellophane and tied with string.
You don't have to open it yet.
Anytime officers find kites, there's a potential wealth of information. After completing their search, the ISU and IGI teams head back to headquarters to decode the message in hopes of learning more about the hidden weapons.
Well, they're Mexican kites. They call them canos. Basically, they just take a pen, they'll sharpen it down, and write as small as they can. They'll practice a lot. They write a lot of these kites. So for us, we're not used to reading small like that. So we take them, we blow them up, and we're able to read them a lot better, a lot easier. From the one kite that I read already, it pertains to weapons and razor blades that are on the yard.
Officers finally have the information that they have been seeking: the location of the weapons on B Yard.
Looks like it's made out of aluminum. Some type cloth fashioned into a handle. See, it'll ruin your day.
Yeah, let's go, take it home.
So far, we found 9 in an hour and a half span, and we're about 2/3 done with this yard. Okay, this right here looks like it's made out of aluminum, probably from something from the kitchen, aluminum cart, part of the aluminum cart, with a spike. Look like it's come up from a fence or some kind of tie down. And then these older ones, like this one, is definitely aluminum from a food cart right here. The handles are usually made out of cloth, like this one right here. That's made out of a sheet wrapped with tape. Some of these inmates here, part of their code is to always have something on them to protect themselves, whether it's on them themselves or on the yard. So whatever area you're in, as far as your race or your gang affiliation, you'll have something there to protect yourself with.
These officers may have prevented another attack by successfully recovering the hidden weapons. But they weren't the first to be made, and certainly won't be the last.
We're not done yet. We just started on the west yard right now.
Just days after removing weapons from the yard, a fight breaks out.
Responding staff from the yard observer witnessed it, put the yard down. They stopped fighting. We're coming from the unit. We respond and provide coverage on the yard. Make sure no one gets up. If they do, then we'll respond and assist.
It appears to be an isolated incident.
It'd be